All right. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to your market update here with myself, Greta Wall, I'm your host, and I'm joined by David Prince, the leader of T3 Live's Inner Circle virtual trading floor. David, it's been a bit since you and I were here live. It's almost a month, actually. So lots has happened for us to talk about, but we'll just talk about some of the most recent stuff. But how is your Thursday going for you so far today?
Lucky that we're chatting because today is definitely one of the best days of several months. Just an amazing
Mhm.
day.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So the title of our stream today is Summer Market Updates. That's what we're going to get here from David today. Just an update on what's been happening for him in the inner circle this summer. But let's start off with this week. You've been very bullish the market, and so just explain that stance, why that's your stance, and where you see things going from here.
Sure. Let's call it the Leopold drama, but I don't. I think we use that as an excuse a bit too much. But during that pullback, we definitely took part in the market, but not very aggressively. And as complexion changed and some strength came into the market, we started to add some longs on, recognizing there's still some sectors that were soft, specifically like semiconductors, while software took the lead. We very much got involved with a lot of those names. But what we noticed is that usually when you have these failed breakdowns, right, whether it be on a stock or an index, there's usually a lot of upside. And that's kind of what occurred with the Qs. And then we retook the 50-day. So we became much more bullish. And then, frankly, I just looked at the market as a whole, earnings season, the breadth, the amount of sectors that were taking part in the bull move. When I say sectors, I mean like broad. I don't mean like semiconductors and optical. I mean semis were under pressure, and all of a sudden you had software as a bona fide leader for the last 6, 8 months. When software works, it's because the semis are down, but they're all broken. All of a sudden, semis were leading. We were seeing Snowflake make high after high, ServiceNow high after high, um, stocks exploding after earnings like Cloudflare and Twilio and Palantir. And there was such leadership in so many groups. And then I said, and then you can add in quantum, right? We saw like an old name of mine that I'm pretty bullish on, Quantinium, QNT. That went wild yesterday off of earnings. INFQ has been okay recently. Then space stocks bounced, of course, led by SpaceX. Biotech, which was a bit softer recently, bounced. And financials have been doing great. And then interest rate sensitive stocks that I'm focused on, a favorite of mine, rocket companies, which I own much lower, recently has no reason to rally, and it rallied, right? So I just looked at the entire scope of the market and said, how can we not be bullish here? And got really aggressive on the Qs yesterday with a few positions like SanDisk that I'm sure we'll talk about. But I just looked at the scope, the breadth, the amount of sectors working, and whether or not oil's an issue or not. Interest rates, which I speak about a lot, are an issue or not. I have to really pay attention to whether the market cares. And at this exact moment in time, the market doesn't care. One day it will. So we went very much risk on, and thank God it's paying off.
All right, let's talk about SanDisk. You mentioned it. You, Kira, Rick also all bought SNXX ahead of the close yesterday, which is the Ultra on SanDisk. After you said to the inner circle, I was in the room and listening, hey, SanDisk has an investor day tomorrow. Sometimes these things can be really bullish for these names. And Kira brought up the idea that SNXX might be a good low risk way to play a fifth, well, at the time, a $1,300 stock. Today, a $1,500 stock because the name is up, 15%
Yeah.
today,
And that's
over
the ultra
205
30%.
points. The
So
ultra
when
is at
you're right,
38%.
when you're wrong, you're really wrong. But when you're right, you're really
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Right. So talk about the investor day just wrapped about 30 minutes ago. It was a 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern event. So just talk about the response from the stock and what you see in the memory space from here, because obviously this move not just affecting SanDisk, but Micron is up, STX, Seagate is up, Western Digital is up. So the space, which was a little bit was weak
Yeah.
earlier, as you
Many of the
mentioned,
names were under the
definitely getting
50
some
day.
strength back. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I said, okay, so the Qs are strong. So many leading names in software. Mag 7, we know, is Microsoft, Amazon have led. they're all kind of, some of them are taking a break. What's still under pressure? Where are there a lot of names still under the 50-day? What can ignite us to make a bigger broad move in the market? Semis, if they can get out of their own way. Like there's cute bounces, but so many are still challenged. So I said, well, when a marquee name has an investor day that in the past has been really positive and ignited moves higher, you got to pay attention. So today was that day. And they talked a lot about forward technologies, long-term commitments, so it's not a boom and bust cycle, and share buybacks. And this stock moves a lot partially because it's a small float versus the Microns of the world. And they're talking about buying back a ton more stock, which just makes a smaller float. So long story short, that took everything higher today. And I pointed to this group and said, could you imagine if the semis start to act better? And Micron gave us some hints yesterday, SanDisk a little bit, and said, so we got to focus. This could be the like key that opens the door to nirvana. And we were focused on SNXX at $11. It hit almost 15. So yeah, it was unbelievable. Still in some, but I've sold like 80%. And that's how we played SanDisk. But more importantly, I saw SanDisk and said, listen, if we take out that pivot, so mid 1400s, this will be like 1500 in seconds. Well, it went to 1500 in seconds, but it also almost went to 1600, 1580, which ignited the whole group. So now you have what everyone looks at as the leader, Micron, above the 50-day. Oh, and did I say Seagate, which had a great earnings report, much better than Western Digital, has joined the group and is well above the 50-day. So that group now can pick up some slack. So when Amazon takes a break like it is today, or when Microsoft gets overbought like it surely was, I'm long and still told everyone like the stock's going down, right? It needs a break. They pick up the slack. We have the most efficient market I've seen in years, and I'm sure this game of musical chairs will eventually backfire. But till then, I don't care. We'll make a lot of money and we'll enjoy it. So you have the most efficient market. Software takes a lead. Software takes a break. Semis take a lead. Oh my God. Smaller industries with less earnings power start to work, like quantum, like space. Biotech bounces. Financials have traded well since earnings several weeks ago. And you got a very bullish environment. No matter how worried you are about oil, no matter what Mr. President says on Truth Social, and frankly, no matter where rates are. So if so many traders say price is truth, right? Well, right now, price is telling you, worry about interest rates another day. So that's what we're doing.
Another space that saw a huge bounce after earnings is the NeoCloud space, specifically Nebius and CoreWeave. NBIS was up earlier, but has fallen, is now falling.
It was time.
Because of the,
Stock moved up almost 65, 70% off the top of my head from 2 weeks ago's bottom.
Yeah. CoreWeave hit a high over 115 or 116 earlier today and also has pulled back from there. But the response to earnings, what do you feel about that? And just for the space moving forward?
Part of our edge is I'm pretty detailed on what to expect and how to play these after hours. So I don't tell any average to new trader. I shouldn't say average. I just mean anyone who's new at this to ever trade after hours and off earnings, but we're really prepared. So some of our best trades come from that. So CoreWeave, I knew what to look for. And we got long in 94s because you could just see that backlog was too powerful. The stock's chart was magnificent, right? It was the 50, the 100, the 200 were all bunched up and it was breaking out above. So you had to be long against positive news. It ran to 105 or after hours, 106, pulled back to 100, bought more, and finally got flat today at 110. I saw 115. I was like, but big enough move. And then some of us, not me, actually bought the Nebius move because, again, that was a perfect setup because a lot of people were concerned, would revenue hit this quarter? Would it be delayed till next quarter? And more importantly, would margins contract because they guided a little conservative on margins last quarter, and the stock had taken a hit, and bang, that went to the races as well. Kira took that one, I think wrote it for 40, 50 points and is still in some. So we were very involved with both names from earnings till today. I finally got flat core weave, and I'll keep it on watch. I think of it as the redheaded stepchild versus Nebius, but still, really one of their best quarters ever. Probably chart looks much better. And again, it's another. I always caution people like I don't care about how much. I know how much debt CoreWeave has. I know that they take all their money and invest it back in the business. So instead of earning money, they continue to lose money. I get all that. But the market is a voting mechanism. And for a while, it was NeoCloud off. You had Kramer 2 weeks ago screaming, sell your data center stocks. You'll thank me. For a minute, he was right because they all got killed. Now they're back above. Now he likes them again. My point is, it is somewhat just simply voting. We feel good, we feel bad because a lot of these don't have earnings today. Well, they feel really good right now. It's another part of the market to be bullish on. That said, I got flat core weave. I think Kira might have she's probably small Nebius. And I said, listen, let's let them pull back and find a comfortable level. So that's how we played it. But it's another reason to be bullish, right? There are so many diverse sectors within the market that are working.
Yeah. You are both flat core weave according to the chat, and she is on a trailer on Nebius today. All right. So let's talk about the earnings season as a whole, because we've talked about little pockets of earnings so far. But what do you think about the market response to names so far? And have there been any standout reports for you that were really a signal for the market?
Which I'm long, was like Microsoft. I said, wow, this is going to get re-rated. This is next level. And I tend to sell too early. It was so powerful that it got me to hold it, right? So even though I was up 50, 60 points, I continued to hold it. And it really stuck out in all the right ways. Amazon was very positive, but Jeff Bezos literally is the anecdote to any like anytime something's, I should say anecdote, he's the devil to any party, right? Like he can destroy a party like no other. So there's his sales out there and it's putting some pressure on the stock. But overall, you can't not love Amazon. AWS killed it. So those were the two focus names. I'm in both of them. I rode them since earnings. Traded around a core. But fantastic. Obviously, financials, super strong. Goldman was blockbuster. But Microsoft stuck out on the Mag 7 names. Then you have to look at software where a lot of strength came into, and Twilio stuck out. Like, wow. Cloudflare stuck out. Wow. Palantir, which we played, stuck out. Wow. So those are just a few names, but also goes back to look at the broad nature of all these pegs, right? These candles that we're seeing left and right after earnings. QNT, which Kira just played magnificently. She bought it after earnings. It was barely up like 55, 56. It ran to 72 yesterday. It was up like $14. So those are just a few of many powerful earnings reports that were involved in that I really liked. Nebius, fantastic. CoreWeave, the best I've ever seen from them. And listen, SpaceX is more to me an AI play right now than a space company, which is why you can't really not like it longer term, right? I get it. Is it worth what it is now? No, but you're buying him and you're buying AI. And I guess space too, if you like spaceships. My point is, they had a lot of things to be positive about long term. If you believe that data center footprint's important, and the word out there is that Jensen's turning this whole business into its own, currency. SpaceX is doing really well. Cerberus was okay, just because I'm sure people want to know, just not good enough considering the stock was up 40% off lows and they have the lockup on Friday. But anyway, those are some names that really stuck out. And Seagate stuck out. Like Seagate was really good, especially versus Western Digital.
I do want to get your opinion on SpaceX. You and I haven't talked since the earnings, and then 2 days later, the lockup, just part of the lockup. There's still a lot of the lockup left. But I mean, the market definitely bought the lockup. So,
right. So here's
SpaceX here at what, 140 today? It's down.
Right. So I mean, I could say exactly, let's just call it like it is. So I told you yesterday, it helps me with my newsletter because we get putting some, items out. I said, hey, tomorrow if SpaceX opens at 150, this is a no-brainer to buy puts that, they'll
Mm-hmm.
work great. But it turned red by the open. So the point
Mm-hmm.
is, I think it needs a break, right? The stock just bounced 45%. This is not a small market cap. And moreover, it has lots of stock free. That said, that was pretty powerful, the bounce. And it's
Yeah.
probably buyable on dips. And I would think around this 135 area, people want to kind of focus on that IPO price. It's probably going to be buyable, right? Um, am I gaga for it? No. I was gaga for it after the lockup. I was pretty loud. I actually screwed up the trade. I bought some for my kids. I missed it for myself like a schmuck. But I was very loud and said, listen, I bought Meta off the lockup, Canva off the lockup, LinkedIn off the lockup. Some of my very best entries in history are off of a lockup, right? Because everyone plans ahead. A lot of these amateur short guys ride their short too late. They end up squeezing themselves. And that's dead on what happened with SpaceX. So none of this is shocking to me, but I think some of the easy money that came. And now it needs to trade a bit, right? That's a big move. It's one thing when $1 billion market cap company bounces 45%. It's another thing when $1 trillion company does. So it needs a break. But so far, so good.
Yeah. Earnings season is not over. We still have not gotten Nvidia's report, and we still have not gotten Micron's report. Those, I think, are the two really big ones left to go. Is Nvidia next week? The week
No,
after?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Week after next. All right. So we're 2 weeks away from Nvidia's report. It's going to be on, Wednesday, August 26th. Yeah. Yep. And actually, that's a big day. CrowdStrike, Salesforce also that day. So you're going to get chips and software. So though, after everything you've seen from the chip makers so far, ahead of Nvidia's report, and then obviously Jensen's big concept announcement earlier this week, how much pressure is Nvidia under heading into this report?
None. They're doing unbelievably well. No, I mean, yes, I could say it, but it's literally either everyone else is lying or they're doing amazing.
Yeah.
They're all buying their chips, right?
Right.
Nebius doesn't have a business without Nvidia. Doesn't non-existent.
Yeah.
So
well, those capex numbers for Microsoft.
You already know Nvidia's numbers. So the question, and it's always been, and where people get confused, and if you're old, you've just seen it so many times, is the size of the company, right? So it's just you're moving this huge, huge ship. And it's harder to move. So people would be much more excited to watch Micron get re-rated or SanDisk, which is tiny by comparison, because they can have 20% moves. $5 trillion companies don't have 20% moves overnight that often. That's really the only issue. But here's the but. And I didn't really get involved. I ignored it. There was enough I was excited about. I ignored it. But I said when Nvidia was starting to move around 210, 212, I said, here's what we can look at. You can look at the size of the move in Microsoft. We're talking one of the largest companies in the world. Size of the move in Amazon. And that gives you some bona fide evidence that Nvidia can actually go up 10, 20 points. So there's zero reason to not be bullish short term. Just keep your expectations in check. It's also well known to have moves into the report and then down off the report 2 weeks away. It started to have that move. So I wasn't against it. I just saw more exciting opportunities. But I said Microsoft and Amazon tell us that it's not too big a ship to move because they just took Microsoft. What is it? The third largest company in the world? They took it. I don't remember anymore, but they took it from 350 to 510 in a month or 6 weeks. So that means, okay, Nvidia is not too big for the time being. And that's how I feel about it. But business is unbelievable there. There's no way it's not. If it is, then Nebius and CoreWeave are all going to get sued out the wazoo because they're lying to us. It's one of the two.
Yeah. Right now, Microsoft is fourth. Nvidia, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft. Alphabet and Microsoft trade back and forth depending on obviously the price of the stock. All right, you're bullish the market. You've done a lot in the past.
I want to say, I came on the mic today. I said, okay, we took some real risk yesterday, and it didn't make it easy. Q's kind of got soft at the end of the day, but I told everyone, I said, listen, there are too many Mag 7 names that are really soft today. Look at Meta down 20, and that is, of course, going to put pressure. But as long as semis start moving tomorrow and SanDisk goes, well, we'll get that breakout. So we got it. Here's what I'm getting to. So then I look at the Qs, and my target was always we get over 628, we're going to 637. Said at 633, I said, guys, I'm looking at NeoCloud, overbought. A lot of the software names overbought and have yet to report. We've got to get CrowdStrike and all these names, Snowflake. Yeah. So I'm looking at financials, which I don't have an interest in here. I'm looking at some of my key names like Rocket with interest rates the way they are at 15, ripping up $1. There's very few stocks I will buy here. Microsoft needs some time. I would actually, as bullish as I was, right now, I got to be a bit more neutral. I'm speaking very micro. Like for the time being, you got to lock in some gains. SanDisk just moved 250 points in 24 hours. Light moved like 150 off lows from after it reported, which, by the way, ignited a lot of the optical names like AAOI, AXTI. So, yes, I'm bullish, but short term, lock in some gains because we could get a bit messy here. So I just want to make that clear.
No, that's what I was going to say. You've done a lot, so there's probably not a lot.
Since yesterday, right?
Right.
Maybe 9 to be exact. It's a big move. So I just thought, okay, take your foot off the gas, lock in some gains, and be open-minded to a little bit of gyration.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not a ton actually you would buy here because a lot of the moves.
But there's always something. So I bought QNT, right? About $1.20 ago. Great numbers. Early in the game, right? Minimal revenue, but really solid guidance. Signed a monster deal with Oracle and really ignited. And you got a great peg candle to trade against. Pull back $4 or $5. Okay, QNT. There we go. So there's enough around that there's always something to do, but full-blown bull, it's time to take some gains after this move.
Somebody asked if you think SPX is on the way to 8,000 soon.
Great question. Here's my answer. It's going to be funny. I think it's funny. I'm in this game 30 years. I trade the Qs in my sleep, in my head. I'm like, seriously, and I'm good at it. Like, I suck at so many things. The Qs, I can really trade. Don't ask me why. I'm just not an SPX guy. So I'm always like, hey, Rick, what do I do? SPX. I trade the SPY, right? And it's same thing, SPX SPY, although everyone focuses on SPX. Here's what I'm going to say, right? It's not my focus, so I'm not going to pretend I can tell you exactly where it's going. But I will tell you that some of the inputs, right, that make SPX work and SPY, they've come a long way. So what happened is it was leading, Qs were soft. And then SPX took a little bit of a break and was flagging, right? And now today it's trying to ignite again. Is there any reason to be bearish? No. But I was more bullish the Qs because I saw underperformance there while fundamentals remain strong. So I thought that's the easier alpha. So if I believe that Micron is going to play catch up and SanDisk is going to play catch up and some of these quantum names will play catch up in robotics, etc., then that's more relevant to the Qs than SPY, and that's where I'll make more money. So I focus there. But there's nothing to not like in the SPY. 8,000, I don't know on SPX. Close to it, sure.
All right. David's a real trader, and I told him we would be done by 1 o'clock. So I'm going to let him go and get back to the room. If you want to work with David in the inner circle, you can go to t3live.com/DP. Fill out that form there. Amber will get back to you on if you're qualified for the room and some other options if not. So again, you go to t3live.com/DP if you'd like to work with David. David, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks. Have a great day, guys. You too.